My family disowned me for refusing the family business, so I lived in my car and built $1 million company. What are you planning to do? My dad's voice practically rattled the fancy lights in our spotless kitchen. His face was turning a scary shade of purple, and it wasn't just from his evening round of scotch. Trying to keep my cool, I repeated that I wanted to start a software company. I'd already created a prototype to help small businesses. He slammed his glass down, saying, "Absolutely not. We didn't send you to Stanford to chase some pipe dream. You're joining the family business. End of story." I glanced at my mom for backup, but she stayed put at our shiny marble island, as usual avoiding drama. Her wrist sparkled with a diamond bracelet I bought her last Christmas from my side hustles in freelance coding. "Mom, I gave it a shot. You know how many small businesses are really struggling to go digital? My platform can help them." She just sighed, looking at her nails. "Ethan, your dad's right. This tech stuff isn't practical. Sterling Enterprises needs you." Truth was, our family's industrial company was sinking, and they wanted my tech skills to bring it up to speed. But I had bigger dreams. "I'm not asking for money, just some time," I said. My dad scoffed. "You want to play with computers while real businesses falter, and your sister's already making partner at her law firm?" "Ah yes, my sister Claire, the perfection everyone expected me to match, top of her class at Harvard Law and married to a doctor." I insisted, "This isn't playing around. I have potential clients interested. Small businesses need affordable tech because the big guys aren't helping them." Then, crash. A glass shattered against the wall near me, my dad shouting, "Enough." Liquor dripped down the expensive wallpaper. "Join Sterling Enterprises by Monday or get out. See how long you last without our help." Mom still didn't say a word, even when I flinched. I took a breath and got up. "I'm choosing to leave. Good luck updating Sterling Enterprises without me." As I headed upstairs, my dad stormed after me. I was ready for this moment, my backpack already packed with essentials like my laptop and some clothes. I had a safety deposit box for important things, and they couldn't touch my savings. My dad yelled, "You have an hour, then I want you gone." I snagged my favorite hoodie and looked around my childhood room one last time, coding trophies, science fair ribbons, and a framed article about the software I built in high school that got Stanford's attention. My phone buzzed. Finn, my best friend, texted, "Is Operation Escape still happening?" I typed back, "Plan B initiated." Months ago, when I decided to chase my business dreams, Finn and I had planned this exact scenario. I could crash at his place above the family bakery until I got on my feet. As I was leaving, Mom finally spoke, "Ethan, be reasonable. Your father just wants what's best." "No," I cut her off, "he wants what's best for Sterling Enterprises. There's a difference." I left, not looking back, feeling surreal spending my first night in my car. I parked a couple blocks from my parents' house, close enough to use the Wi-Fi I'd set up and secured myself. The rhythm of the keyboard drowned out the doubts in my head. "Finn brought food, are you sure about this? My mom's pad thai is incredible, and my couch is yours." I shook my head, showing him my makeshift office, laptop, power bank, and hotspot. "I need to stay mobile for now. Can't risk them finding me." He looked at my laptop and asked, "What exactly are you building?" I showed him the interface and explained, "It's called Smart Start, an all-in-one digital platform for small businesses. It handles point of sale, inventory, customer relationships, online presence, everything they need to compete, simple and affordable. It's what your parents' bakery could use. There's a huge market ignored by big tech." Finn nodded, thinking of his family's old cash register and paper orders. "How long until it's?" So, I had this basic version ready to go in a couple of months, and I'd managed to get most of the main features working. I just needed to tidy up the interface and add some extra bits that I'd been keeping under wraps from my boss. Meanwhile, I was secretly jotting down every flaw in Sterling Enterprises setups, everything from security holes to missed chances for tech upgrades. I wasn't doing it out of spite, I just knew they'd eventually need the stuff I was working on, even if they didn't realize it yet. My daily routine got kinda quirky. I'd hop around different coffee shops, buying just enough to earn my spot in their Wi-Fi. At night, I'd park near my folks' place to tap into their speedy internet, uploading code and running detailed tests. I survived on coffee, protein bars, and leftovers from my buddy Finn's family. I even figured out which parking lots were safe for sleeping and joined a cheap gym just for the shower access. It wasn't exactly comfy, but it let me focus on building Smart Start without any distractions or family drama. My sister Claire tried to stage an intervention one weekend. She caught me coding away at my go-to coffee shop and said, "Ethan, this is nuts. Are you living in your car just to be as stubborn as Dad?" I kept typing without glancing up. I'm working on something big, I replied. She shot back, you're throwing away a sure thing with the family business. Finally, I looked up and told her, that business is on its last legs. Dad won't admit it, but their systems are old, their process is clunky, and they're getting outpaced by the competition. Her suggestion? Then fix it. I told her, that's exactly what I'm doing, just not in their way. Before storming out, she left an envelope on my table. Inside was $5,000 cash with a note that said, "Don't be an idiot, come home." I upgraded my tech gear with that money and snagged a better laptop. By month 2, things started to click. A local bookstore, a family-run hardware store, and a new food truck company reached out to beta test Smart Start. They were all facing the same issues my platform aimed to solve. After showing the bookstore owner how the inventory management system worked, she said, "This is exactly what we need. QuickBooks is a hassle, and custom solutions cost too much. How much are you charging?" I quoted her a price that made her smile, deliberately lower to spark some word-of-mouth buzz. By month 3, I had paying clients. It wasn't much cash, but it was steady and enough for me to rent a tiny studio, though I didn't include it on the lease so my folks wouldn't find out. Then, I got a call that changed everything. A guy with a business-like voice said, "Is this Ethan Sterling? This is Owen Grant from Zenith Ventures. We've been hearing good things about your Smart Start platform." My heart nearly stopped. Zenith Ventures was a big-time early-stage investor. He mentioned one of their portfolio companies praised my solution as just what small businesses needed. Would I be interested in talking about potential investment? I clutched my phone tight, remembering all the nights spent coding in my car, the meals I skipped to pay for server time, and all the uncertainties I pushed aside for this dream. "Yes," I said, "I'd definitely be interested." Little did I know then, this conversation would set off a chain of events that not only validated my vision but also forced my family to face their financial troubles in ways none of us saw coming. The Zenith Ventures office was exactly what Dad would have liked, perched atop a shiny skyscraper downtown. I tried to look the part, despite living out of my van just months before. I straightened up my one nice suit and picked up some used items for investor meetups. Owen Grant had that confident vibe of someone who got rich during the first .com boom, and he was younger than I thought, maybe in his early 40s. He said, "Walk me through it again," pointing to the massive screen showing my Smart Start demo. I launched the interface that had become as familiar as the back of my hand. Small businesses are drowning in digital confusion. They need e-commerce, inventory management, and customer relationship tools, but most solutions out there are too costly, too complicated, or too limited. My platform connects all these elements: point of sale, inventory, customer comms, basic analytics, in a user-friendly way. I showed how a small business owner could set up everything in under an hour. Owen asked, "And this scales?" I explained that the architecture is cloud-based and modular, letting us add features as businesses grow while keeping the core simple. He nodded slowly. "And your current users?" he asked. I proudly told him, 28 paying customers, all from word of mouth, with zero churn. The average user engagement is 4 hours daily. He seemed impressed, then pulled up a screen showing my company's incorporation documents. Innovative Solutions LLC, registered 6 months ago. "All self-funded so far?" he asked, scrutinizing me. Before I could answer, he said, "You're Charles Sterling's son?" My heart skipped a beat. "You know my father?" He had this thoughtful look when he said, "Sterling Enterprises was one of my first investments back in the day, before your dad took over the minority shareholders. I've heard they're struggling with the whole digital market shift." I kept my poker face on and said, "I wouldn't know, I'm not involved with Sterling Enterprises." He then tapped on his iPad, pulling up some new document. "Interesting," he said, "we'd like to offer you $2 million in seed funding for a 20% stake." I tried to keep my hands steady, but wow, $2 million was way more than I ever imagined having. Owen continued, "There's just one catch. We want you to broaden your scope. Small businesses are fine, but mid-sized companies need these solutions too, companies like, Sterling Enterprises." And there it was, the trap I'd been expecting. "You want me to target my family's business," I said. He gave a small smile, saying, "I want you to target a market segment that desperately needs to modernize. It's just a bonus if your dad's company benefits." I reflected on all those nights parked outside my parents' house, using their Wi-Fi to build something they'd rejected, remembering Mom's quiet and Dad's anger about the small businesses Smart Start had already helped. "I'll need full control over the company's direction," I replied. "No messing with the core mission." He slid a folder over and said, "Of course, have your lawyers look it over, but Ethan, don't take forever. This market won't stay open indefinitely. 3 days later, after poring over every detail with my sister Claire, who's a way better lawyer than she thinks, I signed the contract. You're really doing this? She asked as she handed back the annotated documents. Going directly against Dad's business, I said, I'm building something that might save it if he's willing to see that. She shook her head. You know he won't, not coming from you. She was right, of course, but I had a plan. Scaling up over the next 6 months was a whirlwind. I would have given Mom a heart attack if she knew I'd rented office space in a converted warehouse, hired salespeople, designers, and developers. When Finn stepped in as the head of customer success, his insight into small business owners was super helpful. Smart Start grew faster than Owen expected. Word spread in business circles about this platform that actually delivered on its promises. From dozens to hundreds to thousands, our user base exploded. Finally, the tech press took notice, and that's when the Game Changer article came out, Digital David vs. Goliath, How Smart Start is Disrupting Enterprise Software. It praised our knack for helping small businesses compete with the big guys, our creativity, and focus on user experience. Mentioned almost as an afterthought was me being Charles Sterling's estranged son. Minutes after the article went live, Claire called. Dad's furious, she said as soon as I answered. He's calling an emergency board meeting. Why? I asked. Smart Start isn't competing with Sterling Enterprises. No, she said, but 3 of their largest clients just announced they're switching to your platform. I was floored. We'd been so focused on small businesses that I hadn't noticed mid-sized ones jumping on board too. There's more, Claire added. Their latest quarterly numbers are terrible, Ethan. Really bad. The board's talking about pushing Dad out if he doesn't modernize their systems. I pulled up Sterling Enterprises' public financials, and wow, things were worse than I thought. In just 6 months, their stock had dropped 40%, and they were losing clients fast. They were teetering on the brink of bankruptcy, clinging to outdated software. They need help, I said out loud. They need you, Claire replied, but you know Dad won't admit it. Owen Grant's words about targeting mid-sized businesses and all the Smart Start features that could benefit companies like Sterling Enterprises were running through my mind. Maybe, I said quietly, they don't need to recognize me. That evening, I called an urgent team meeting and revealed a prototype I'd been secretly working on, a new division aimed at larger companies based on Smart Start's architecture but with added features for complex operations. We're launching enterprise solutions, I announced. Finn frowned. I thought we were focusing on small businesses. We are, but there's a whole segment of mid-sized companies getting crushed between nimble small businesses and resource-rich big corporations. They need what we've built. I didn't mention that every feature in Enterprise Solutions was designed to tackle Sterling Enterprises issues, which I had spent months dissecting and solving. For weeks, the team went into overdrive. We launched Enterprise Solutions under a different name through a separate subsidiary that couldn't be linked back to me. We targeted well-established companies struggling with digital transformation, similar to Sterling Enterprises, and waited. It didn't take long. Just days after our launch, the new CTO of Sterling Enterprises, hired in a panic after their latest system meltdown, reached out. The meeting was set for their headquarters. I watched over a secure video link as my dad and his board were shown Enterprise Solutions by our hand-picked sales team, none of whom were connected to me. I saw the moment of realization on his face that this was exactly what they needed, and the struggle to admit it. So, the board meeting was pretty lively, with everyone super curious about the costs and how we'd roll out this new system. Our sales lead didn't even get to finish explaining how the investment would pay off because my dad cut him off, saying, "We've got to check other options." Then, Jonathan, one of the older board members, chimed in. He leaned in and said, "Look, we've seen like a dozen presentations in the last couple of months, and this is the only one that hits the nail on the head for us. Plus, their track record with similar companies is top-notch." Another board member jumped in, mentioning how my cousin's manufacturing business started using their system last quarter and immediately saw improvements. I could see my dad's face, he knew he was losing this battle. The board wanted change, and their clients were demanding it too. The only way to keep things afloat was with Enterprise Solutions. So, a bit grumpily, he agreed to start the procurement process. I turned off the video feed, feeling weirdly empty despite having done what Sterling Enterprises needed. My vision was spot on, but it somehow didn't feel like a win. Then, 3 days later, Claire called. Without even a hello, she goes, "Dad's drinking again." And I'm like, "Really? Drinking?" She says Mom's talking about separating. It's not Enterprise Solutions' fault, Dad's just realizing his mistakes. It hit me that he was desperate, asking outsiders for help as the business crumbled. Claire paused and said Dad muttered he should have listened to me. I stared out my office window, thinking about all the choices that led us here, my pride, Dad's stubbornness, and the silent walls we built between us. I wondered if there was a way to save both the company and his pride. I had an idea but needed Claire's help. The Sterling Enterprises board meeting was set for Thursday at 9 a.m. I watched familiar faces walk into the offices as I sat in my car, parked in the same spot I used to piggyback on their Wi-Fi. Dad was the last to arrive, looking older than I remembered. His usually perfect suit was a bit wrinkled, and his stride wasn't as confident as the one I admired growing up. I texted, "Everything ready?" and got a quick all set from my contact. Claire mentioned Owen Grant was there, and Mom was in position, though she wasn't too sure about all this. I switched my tie to something designer, not Dad's usual pick, but it had to be today. The Enterprise Solutions contract needed board approval by week's end. Claire wished me luck, reminding me not to enjoy it too much. Despite my nerves, I laughed. She knows me too well. Walking into the building, the security guard did a double take since I'd been thrown out before after another fight about joining the family business. But now, I was back on my own terms. Entering the boardroom, everything went quiet. Dad's face shifted from shock to confusion, and Owen Grant gave me a nod like he'd been expecting me. Dad yelled, "What are you doing here?" I calmly replied, "Here to talk about the Enterprise Solutions contract," and set my laptop down. Owen stepped in, saying softly that as the major investor in Enterprise Solutions, my input was vital. Dad turned pale. I didn't show the Enterprise Solutions dashboard. Instead, I revealed my original Smart Start designs. "Started this after you kicked me out," I said, and added that I was using their Wi-Fi while living out of my car at the time. The board members looked uneasy, and Mom turned to look at me from her usual corner spot, calm as ever. I continued, explaining how Smart Start took off, loved by small businesses for solving real problems simply and cheaply. But I knew bigger companies needed a similar fix, so I moved to the Enterprise Solutions interface. Every feature was tailor-made for Sterling Enterprises: inventory management, customer tracking, integration capabilities, all crafted with deep understanding of the company's needs. Dad, angry, accused me of spying. "No," I said, "just trying to save your company, the same one you wanted me to join, but only on your terms." Owen cleared his throat, saying the board reviewed my proposal, which wasn't just about software but a potential merger. That caught Dad off guard. I laid out the merger plan I'd been perfecting. Smart Start technology would get a controlling stake in Sterling Enterprises, but the Sterling name would stay. The legacy continues, enhanced by tech, and Dad would transition to Chairman Emeritus, focusing on the big picture, not daily operations. The room was silent, and Dad whispered, "You want to buy my company?" I corrected him, explaining it was about saving and transforming the company to honor its history while steering into the future. It had to happen now, before the market left them behind. Mom was the first to speak. "Charles, listen." He spun around, totally shocked. She had never raised her voice in 30 years of board meetings. "I've seen what Ethan built," she insisted. "I know what he sacrificed to get here. This isn't just about winning or losing, it's about family." He let out a loud laugh. "Family?" He bailed on the family business. "No," I murmured, "I just found another way to support it." Every feature, every innovation in those enterprise solutions was crafted with Sterling Enterprises in mind. Despite everything, I never stopped believing in what this company could be. I walked over to his chair and pulled up another doc on my tablet, the original business plan I had scribbled down in my car the night I got kicked out. I called it Project Phoenix, modernizing Sterling Enterprises through independent innovation. He zoned in on the paper, dawning recognition. "This was your plan all along?" "Plan B, actually. Plan A was getting you to modernize from within, but you weren't ready to hear it back then." Owen Grant stood up. "The board needs to vote on this merger proposal by the end of the day. Let's take a break to mull this over." Everyone left, and I was alone with my dad. He seemed lost, staring at my business proposal. After what felt like forever, he asked, "Why didn't you tell me? Would you have listened? Really listened? Not just heard what you wanted to?" He sat there quietly for a while. "You built all this using our Wi-Fi?" I couldn't help but laugh. "That's what you're stuck on?" "No," he replied, running a hand through his silver hair, "I'm just trying to wrap my head around how my son went from living in his car to offering to buy my company in less than 2 years. The same way you built this company, by spotting opportunities others missed, working harder than anyone thought possible, and believing in something bigger than myself." Slowly, he nodded. "Your grandfather would have loved this. He always said the best business lessons come from proving the skeptics wrong. I grinned. I actually learned that from you, all those tales about building sterling enterprises and defying the naysayers. I just did it my way, not yours. The board approved the merger with a unanimous vote after what felt like the longest wait ever. Even my dad voted in favor. It wasn't a walk in the park, especially with family businesses. Change is no cakewalk. Gradually, though, Sterling Enterprises transformed. We kept the name but refreshed the brand. My granddad's core business was still there, but now it was supercharged with tech to thrive in the digital age. Sterling's solid foundation mixed with Smart Start's inventiveness, creating something neither could have done alone. A year later, I was in my old man's office, now our office, as he finally took on the chairman emeritus role. The quarterly numbers we were checking blew past all expectations. "You were right," he suddenly said, making me look up. "About what?" I asked. "About everything. The tech, the shifting market, the need to adapt." He gestured to our latest data. I was too proud to see it, too scared of losing control. "But now, I'm proud of what you built, what we're building together." My phone buzzed. Finn sent a message about a new acquisition target, another family business needing exactly what we offered. I pulled up the plan. "Speaking of building, what do you think about expanding our enterprise division?" He gave me that genuine smile I remembered from way back, before stress had etched it away. "Tell me more." Later, as I passed by our old house, I noticed the Wi-Fi signal was still strong. Little did they know, I had updated their system last month. I thought back to that first night in my car, coding under my laptop's glow, fueled by frustration, determination, and the drive to prove everyone wrong. But I realized that real success isn't about proving others wrong, it's about creating something so solid that even the staunchest critics can't deny its value. Mom reminded me about family dinner as my phone buzzed again. These moments were routine now, but the conversation had shifted, from judgment to genuine curiosity, from criticism to teamwork. "Coming," I replied, with a cheeky note about using their Wi-Fi. Mom shot back immediately, "Very funny, your dad says bring the new acquisition proposal." And yes, he's actually excited about it. Thinking about how far we'd come, from rejection to reunion, made me smile. From rivalry to partnership, from secretly mooching their Wi-Fi to helping them step into the digital age. Sometimes, the best way to prove someone wrong is to give them a whole new perspective on what's right.